Hi! How are you, Christian? Good to see you. Come, find a seat, guys. Come here. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, you're going to sit in the back? That's fine. As long as you can see me, okay? Find a spot. Find a seat. Keep on me. There's a seat over here.
I don't. And you are Nico. We have two Nicos.
We have two Nicos. Very cool. How are you guys? Are you excited? Did you have fun in the house? To learn all about how sunshine is awesome? Good. We're going to talk a little more about sunshine here. Fine. Which is great for everybody to see. Here, let us have a seat. Honey, can you come see where the seats are? There should be some extra ones in the helm. Good to see all of you. I'm glad you're all here. All right. So, today we're going to be talking about what happened on the day that the sun didn't shine. You think there was a day like that? I think there was. But I have a question for you. First of all, what do you think came first? Did God make the light first, or did He make the sun first? Which one did He make?
The sun.
The sun?
Light.
The light, that's right. Remember? The light came on day 1. And I don't know how God did this, but He made the sun on day 4. Remember? That we talked about that on day 4 He made the sun, moon, and star. Hi, Nora. Good to see you. You want to find a seat so we can talk? Yeah? All right. Good job, sweetheart. Okay. So, I don't know how God did this, but somehow He made the light first, and then the sun He made on day 4. I never see any light unless it's sunshine, right? Unless we turn on the lights in the house, or have a candle or a flashlight, or if the sun is shining. That's the only way I've ever seen light. But somehow, at the beginning, God made light first. But there's something interesting in the Bible I want you guys to hear. It's in John chapter 8, verse 12, and this is what Jesus says. Listen to this for a second. It says, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. So here Jesus is saying that He is the light of the world. So I'm not sure if Jesus just showed up or showed up His brightness on day 1, and that's how it happened, but I know that He said that He is the light of our world. And there's something else that's interesting, is that at the end of the world, when God makes everything new, there's something else that will happen. Listen to this. This is in Revelation chapter 22 and verse 5. It says, there shall be no night there. They need no lamp, nor the light of the sun, for the Lord God gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. Did you know that? We won't need a sun when God makes everything new on this earth and we get to be in heaven with Him, because God is our light. Because Jesus is light. I don't know how He did that, but between the time that God started the light and the sun, and at the end of time, is the story that we're going to talk about today, the most important thing. The reason it's the most important is because, do you remember what happened at the very beginning? There were 2 people. They were named Adam and Eve, and we'll talk about them a little bit more on the last day of VBS. But there's something that they did. They made a choice that wasn't so good. Does anybody know what that was?
Go to the tree that way we're supposed to go.
That's true. Did you have something too? What were you going to say?
I was going to say that.
You were going to say, oh, okay. So that's right. They went and ate from a tree they weren't supposed to eat, because God said, from this tree you should not eat. And they chose to disobey God, and they chose to obey His enemy, Satan. And as a result, all of the people started to not be happy anymore. The people died. There was sickness and unhappiness and all kinds of terrible things that happened. Well, God and Jesus, God the Father and Jesus, decided that if something like that was ever going to happen, that Jesus was going to come. Even though he was the creator, he's the one that made the light, and he made the dry ground, and he made all the plants for us, and the sun and moon and the stars. He was going to come down to this earth, and he was going to live, and he was going to die in order to bring us back to God, because that was the only way that he could do that. So you know the story of Jesus in Bethlehem, how he came as a baby, and he came and he grew up, and he was kind to his mommy and daddy and obedient, and he did all the things he was asked to do. And then when he grew up, he was such a wonderful person and a wonderful teacher. He helped people when they weren't feeling well, and he helped them to get better, and he helped people like Zacchaeus. You guys remember the story from yesterday? How Zacchaeus was feeling sorry for the bad things he had done, and Jesus told him that he could be right with God again, and that he would forgive him. Well, that's what Jesus came here for, to forgive us for our bad things that we did, and to help people like the ones that couldn't see, he would help them to see again. And the ones that couldn't walk, he would help them to walk again. And even people that had died, he brought them back to life. Wasn't that exciting? You would think everybody would be excited about that, but unfortunately not everybody was. Some of the religious leaders, some of the priests, and some of the big people up in the government, they were not happy with what Jesus was doing. And they weren't as popular with the people anymore as Jesus was, because he was so kind and good, and they were jealous of him. And you know what? They found a way to trick the Roman government, the people who were in charge of all of the Jews, to have Jesus killed. They made the leader, Pilate, believe that he was a bad person, that Jesus was a bad person, and that he needed to die. It was very, very sad, and they actually convinced the people, all of the people in Israel, that Jesus needed to die and that he was a bad person. And so they gave him this big cross to carry on his shoulder. And he had to carry it, and he was so sad because he was away from his Father, and he knew that he was carrying our bad choices that we had done. And he had been beaten, and all these bad things happened to him that he couldn't even carry his own cross to where they were going to crucify him. But somebody else did it for him, and then they brought him to the place where they were going to put him on the cross. And they did that at 9 o'clock in the morning. Very early, well, it wasn't very early, but sometime in the morning they did that. And so, after that, Jesus was feeling really, really bad. Not because it was so painful and they had beaten him, even though it was really painful to be on the cross. Can you guys see that? Can you see the picture of Jesus right there in the middle? It's kind of dark. There's a reason for that. I'll tell you in a second. Can you see that, Leslie? It's right there. I should bring it around so you guys can see it. You guys sit down and I'll bring it to you. Okay. So, what happened with Jesus is that inside of his heart was all of the bad feelings that people have when they choose to disobey God. Have you guys ever done something bad? Like maybe you took something you weren't supposed to, or maybe you told something that wasn't true? Like telling a lie? Did you feel bad inside for doing that? Sometimes we do that, and we feel really bad until we go and say, I'm sorry, and we ask forgiveness. Well, Jesus was feeling all of that yucky feelings inside of him, and was feeling so bad because God, in order to forgive us, he had to put all of that guilt and all of that pain of those bad things onto him so that we could be able to be saved. And so Jesus was feeling terrible. But you know, outside, it was a beautiful spring day. There were flowers outside, and the birds were singing, and the sun was shining beautifully and brightly. And nobody could tell that anything was happening except for that Jesus knew that there was so much pain in his heart. But all of a sudden, at about 12 o'clock, something happened. And all of a sudden, that beautiful bright sunshine went away. Just like that. Thank you. And it was completely dark in all of the area around Jesus. Just like you see right here in the picture, how it's very, very dark. You can't see it now because it's dark, huh?
I didn't see it before.
Oh, you didn't see it before. There it is. There's Jesus right there in the middle. And that's how Jesus was feeling. He was feeling really, really bad. Because he was feeling like God had gone away from him. Like God wasn't there with him anymore. even though he had been on this earth, he always felt like God was with him. But when he was on the cross, he felt all alone, all by himself. And he felt like even though he had told everyone that he was going to rise up from the dead, he was feeling so bad, and he was feeling the guilt of our sins and our bad choices, that he felt like he wasn't going to rise up from the dead anymore. But even though he was feeling like that, he chose that he was going to die anyway, because he didn't want to live forever without us. So he decided that he was going to die anyway, even though he felt really bad. And then about 3 o'clock, I think the sun came up again. And he decided that he was going to do this anyway. And he said to God, I commend my spirit to you, or I give my life to you, God. You do what you know is best. He trusted God, that God said that he was going to come back from the dead, and he was going to come back. And he chose to die for us. So even though it was the darkest day that it could have been, with no sun shining because God took the sun away, so everybody would know that it was a very bad thing that was happening. But it was actually a very good thing. Because Jesus died, we have a chance to live forever, and live forever with him. So I want you guys to remember that, because it is very special. Even though the sun didn't shine, Jesus is going to raise us all up again, and we're going to go to heaven with him one day. Now we're going to learn our memory verse, because it talks about how the heavens show what God is like. Katie and Valencia, can you guys help me out over here? We're going to hold these up and we're going to read them together. There you go. Go ahead and hold 2 of those up, and this one's like that. That's the way. All right? And then we're going to say the verse together. Ready? Okay. We'll start over there on that side. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Those are some big words, but firmament just means the sky, the place where the air is. And the handiwork means things that are done with your hands, things that you do with your hands. So the heavens, that means the things up in the sky, show what God is like. God's glory is what he's like. So the stars, the moon, and the sun show us how beautiful and how wonderful God is. So whenever you guys look up at the sun, you shouldn't look at it directly because it's not good for your eyes. But whenever you see the sun around, and when you see the moon at night and the stars, it helps us to remember that God cares about us and that he loves us very much. So let's do it one more time. Ready? The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Psalm 19, verse 1. Let's do it again. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Psalm 19, verse 1. Okay, very good. We're going to review it again tomorrow. So let's make sure we do this in the right order. There we go, and there we go. Thank you, perfect. And now we have a really long verse from our first day. Remember the long one in the beginning? So I'm going to need some helpers. Who are going to help me out? Okay, let's see. So Valencia and Katie, you guys come back here, and you hold 2 of them, and I'll have some of you guys helping me out too. Katie, you hold those. Okay. I need lots of helpers. Okay, Nico, come over here. You hold this one. Stay right there next to Valencia. And then Kylie, is that your name? Go ahead and hold this one. It says everything. Go ahead and hold it up high, like up here on the chest so everyone can see. Perfect. Okay, we've got a nice kitty right here. Sasha, come over here. And then Amaya will give you the next one. But you guys got to sit in your seats. Wesley, you can be next. Okay, you guys have to hold them up high so everyone can see it. And then he'll be your name. Oh, you got yours off. Let me see. Hold it. Can you hold this up high? Good job. Okay, I'll be in the back and I'll help you guys out. Ready? Okay, everyone hold yours up as high as you can. Okay. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There we go. The heavens and the earth. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Genesis 1, verse 1 and 31. Okay, let's do it again. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good. Genesis 1, verse 1 and 31. All right, good job, everyone. I'll come around. You stay where you're at, and I'll come and pick them up. And then you can go to your seat. Thank you very much. Oopsie, sorry about that. Okay, perfect. Oops, I'm doing this backwards. 1 second, let me readjust. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. Oh, no, this one's going to be... There we go. Thank you. Good job. And then we have one more. All right, I'll do it from here. What time is it? Okay, ready? The sea is His, for He made it. And His hands formed the dry land. Psalm 95, verse 5. One more time. The sea is His, for He made it. Right? He just spoke it. And His hands formed the dry land. Okay, one more time. Oh, oops, I forgot the reference. Psalm 95, verse 5. Do you know why this is here? This is so, when you guys, how many of you guys can read for yourself? Does anybody can read for yourself? A couple of you, right? When you get older, since you're memorizing these, you can actually look them up in your Bible and make sure that that's what it is. So you can find it for yourself. That's right, a 95 and a 5. So Psalm 95, verse 5. You can remember it. Okay, one more time. The sea is His, for He made it, and His hands formed the dry land. Psalm 95, verse 5. Very, very good. Good job. If I can find my... Oh, there it is. That way we don't lose them. Okay, good. See ya. Okay, so we have a little bit of time. So, I want you guys to tell me what your favorite part of Vacation Bible School is so far. Raise your hand. Yes, Did you like the volcano? I like the volcano too. That was fun. Did you get really wet? No? Oh, good. I didn't get in there. I like to watch you guys play, but I didn't get in there with them. Okay, how about you, Nico? Other Nico. Two Nico. Being outside? You like being outside? Oh, we have a couple of really fun activities coming up after this, and you guys are going to like it. Okay, Wesley, go ahead.
I like the songs.
You like the songs? I do too. I think they're fun. When I'm doing my dishes at home, I keep remembering them and I keep singing them in my head. Sometimes out loud. They're fun. Okay, Kylie, how about you? Which one? Oh, the water fight. with the water rockets going up and stuff like that? Yeah, that was fun. It was nice since it's been really hot to get some water and play with water. Yes, Sasha?
The volcano.
You like the volcano. I like the volcano. Yes, I do too. It's like having a bubble bath outside. How about you, Amaya?
I like the volcano too.
You
I like putting yellow with fire.
How about you, sweetheart?
I like the volcano and the water balloon fight.
Yes, the water balloon fight was fun too. Yes, Hope.
Oh, I like everything.
You like everything. Me too. It's been fun to have Vacation Bible School, hasn't it? Very good. Okay, so, anybody else have, did I miss anyone else? Yes, sir.
I like the rockets.
You like the rockets? I like the rockets too. Those are really fun.
I go to learn it.
Did you get a chance to pull the string?
Yeah, I like.
Yeah, oh, true.
Straight up in the air.
It did go right up in the air. They look kind of scary to me. I was like, I hope that doesn't fall on my head. But you guys did okay, huh? Okay. Anybody else that you wanted to share?
Me.
Yes. What did you like?
I like.
2 minutes? Okay. You like the rockets too. Those are really fun. So do you remember what we learned from the rockets? Remember that on day 2, God separated He actually separated the waters that were under the earth. Let's see if I can find my waters here. From the air that that was up here, and there were waters up on the top. I'm not sure how that happened because clouds came later. We didn't have rains right away. So there was water up in the sky somehow, and then there was air for people to breathe, and then there was water underneath. And then God didn't want to just have water underneath, so what did He do on the third day? No, He probably did actually have a waterfall, but in order to have a waterfall, you need to have something else. What would you need?
Rock.
Rock? Yes, so what would this be?
Sand.
Sand. Yes, very good. So rocks and sand make up what?
Sand and rock?
Yes. How about dry ground? Yeah? We need to have something to walk on because people don't walk on water, right? There's only... Huh? How do you change it? Oh, you just put some stuff on top or you take some stuff off. It's pretty easy. We can do it easily. God can do it much better than we can. So, on day 1, He made the light right here. Right? On day 2, He separated the waters so that there's air for us to breathe. And then He made the dry ground for people to walk on and for animals to walk on because not all of us can walk on water or can't swim through water. That would get pretty big, pretty hard to do. Have you guys a good job, but unfortunately all of us would get tired doing that all day long and all night long, right? Because we're not fish. God didn't create us to be like fish. So that would be really hard. So He had to make dry ground for animals and people. And then He made plants because He knew that we needed food to eat. And He knew that we needed things to, did you know that plants actually make the air that we need to breathe? What is the name of the air that we need to breathe? Do you guys know what that's called? Does anybody know what that's called? It's called oxygen. And oxygen is what we breathe into our lungs. Remember how we talked about lungs? And on the first day, Christiana told you guys about lungs and breathing in really deep. And you know how we get that fresh air? It's from the plants. The plants make oxygen for us to breathe. So God had to make plants first on the third day before He could make people for us to be able to, in order for us to be able to breathe that air. And they needed to have plants to make that happen. So God did these amazing things. And you know why the sun and the moon and the stars are important? Because they help us to know when it's daytime and when it's nighttime. If we didn't have the sun, would we know that it was daytime? No, it'd be kind of hard. It'd be dark all the time. And then the moon tells us which time of the month it is, so that we know whether it's been a 1 week or 2 weeks. Oh, they're waiting. Very good. Okay. So who's my line leader here? Oh, there you are, Abigail. Can you go ahead and line up over there with the kids? You guys are going to go and have some fun.